All right. Do you want to charge a lot more and cut down your sales time to a couple of days for six-figure deals? Well, I've got the expert here who will teach you how to do that. Debbie Allen has, sold $100,000 deals, not just for herself, but for other businesses. We'll talk about how she did that, shrinking sales time down from months to a few days in multiple businesses. We're going to talk about how to sell knowledge in the age of AI, the biggest mistakes people are making on stages, the right size audience. This really surprised me, to sell big ticket offers and get them repeating. The keys to those big offers and how to 4x your sales. All of this on the Garlic Marketing Show, and we're going to tell you how to get access to Debbie directly for almost nothing at one of her events and get a special offer in this Garlic Marketing Show. All right, let's get started.
My name is Gino Wickman. I was introduced to Ian, and that's what brought me into this video world and got me embracing this video world. And Ian did exactly what I hoped. He got me really comfortable with putting videos out to the world. Nice. And having a great strategy around putting videos out to the world, because there's so much more than just shooting a video. And so the way that he positions those videos, optimizes those videos, he's done a great job.
Debbie, thank you so much for coming in here and telling us about your huge sale. That was the easiest sale you've ever made.
Yeah, I love it. So Ian and I met up at actually Orlando not long ago, and I told the story, and he's like, "You got to come on my podcast and tell that story," because it really was the easiest and biggest sale I've ever made.
Well, yeah, I mean, I want everyone to know that, like, what we're going to talk about here, I think, is even more important than ever in the age of AI, because it's in real conversations in real life, and I think this applies to every business. Needs to do some version of this, more so than ever, especially if you want to be selling at the highest level. And Debbie, before we get into that, real quick, give me a real quick background, because I was looking through and it's like, oh, you're 19 and you've had when you were 19, you had you 10x the retail business. Tell me a little bit about that, because this is amazing.
Well, not till 30. Yeah, I had to learn a little bit.
Okay.
I got into the family business at 19. I never went to college. I've never even applied for JOB. I have to spell it because it's terrifying. I used to take the school bus, my senior year, and go to my family business. But my father wasn't an entrepreneur. That was the first business he ever started. And it was a car rental business. We started with 5 rental cars outside of beautiful Gary, Indiana. We had pretty tough clientele, but we built that to 250 cars, campers, trucks, all kinds of stuff. And it's still there. My brother still owns it.
Wow.
55 years later or some crazy thing, right? Yeah, still amazing. But I grew up in that environment, learning so many things, like how to grow a business fast, how to jump in when you don't know how to do something, how to make things happen, do whatever it takes, stay focused, because we started lots of different businesses, and the ones that made the most money, the family business was the car rental business. And we were first people in Northwest Indiana to build a mini storage business, which everybody thought was crazy. And then we that was my first $1 million sale before the age of 30. And then I left the family business with that funding and started my own retail business, which I knew nothing about. And then became a multimillionaire with that by the age of 32 with multiple stores. And again, never even worked a day in retail. And so be like, how did you do that? You're that brilliant. I'm not that brilliant, but I'm brilliant enough to find the people that already know how to do it, and work with them and fast track. And that's what I've done. And I kind of look at my life as those who are my professors in business, right? It's like, those are the people that really taught me a lot. And so, continually learning, and that's it. You're learning in business all the time. And the conversation of the big ticket offer came from just one of my peers having a conversation when, what's your brilliance? And we talked about that, is like, the brilliance is selling, on stages all over the world, 28 countries. And then he says, well, what are your price points you're going to offer? And then I gave my price points, and he says to me, why don't you have $100,000 offer? And I went, like crickets. But in my head, I cut it in half automatically. And then I thought maybe I could figure 50. Here's the things that reason why you don't have the biggest offer. You could be making more money and you're just not asking for it is because you don't know the details of what to put in there or how to ask for it, how to communicate the value of it, all of those things, right? And so once you get that figured out, what I did with the 100,000, I sat and I wrote it out and I started getting really excited about it. And I just did what I call a throwout offer. At a live event or you're in front of people, throw it out, see if it sticks. What do you have to lose? Because I already had the other offers. I already knew what I was going to offer. But let's just say you want to double your income with an offer, throw something out that's bigger and put it. I mean, you have to know your ideal client first. You have to know what they really want and then speak their language. So that's basically what I did. I just put some notes together and I spoke on my stage for 10 minutes and I said it's by application, it's not for everybody. And 4 people ran to the back of the room and applied instantly. It was like, and I gave the price. I told them that, it was like, whoa, and of course it was a lot of time with me, so I didn't pick all 4 of them, but it just blew me away. Like, this is so easy. And then the one I really thought about, like my ideal client that would want this, like, I'm like, she's going to want this, right? um, she had gone out of the room and then she saw the line of people that were filling out the applications and talking to me. And she's like, you're going to pick me. You're going to pick me, right? Like somebody begging to buy a throwout offer that you never even thought you could offer before. So it all comes to a conversation and how you word things, how you know the value that you offer, and you really understand what that ideal client wants.
And stepping back, I mean, because you made that seem so easy.
It was easier than I thought, I can imagine, but let's step back, right? And
Yeah.
let's get them in the headspace, right?
Yeah. So, first of all, I mean, I think the key, there's a lot to unpack there, but you've got everyone into a room. And I think this is important. Is I think a lot of people want to automate everything and sell big offers without having to talk to people or meet the people, or I'm like, I mean, if you're selling something a high ticket offer, you're going to have to meet them eventually, right? um so what are the keys to getting those people, surrounding those people, getting them excited, getting them to pay attention to you in a room?
Well, I use my skill of speaking. So, I've been a professional speaker for 30 years. And so the power of speaking is incredible because you can sell one to many all at the same time. And I learned that paid speaking was not just the only way to go. And I had been speaking and selling and putting on my own events for, you know, 20 years. So, it was just another event I was going to do. And now I teach people how to speak and sell from stage. So that stage could be online, that stage could be live, that stage could be in a business meeting. It's still the same skills of communication. You're still selling yourself and selling your idea. Let's break it down to that, right? For those people like, oh, I don't want to be a speaker, right? So it's just like, how do I communicate that? I just put the right people in the room and I communicated. That helped having the right people in the room, which, again, you may have in a meeting or some other opportunity. And then basically shared with them what is my brilliance, what is the thing I've made the most money from. So when I left the retail business, sold all my retail stores, I went right into the speaking business. That's a piece of it's like 30 years of that, right? So I've been doing that for a long time. And so people want to be not like me, but they want to have the experience. It's like, oh my gosh, you spoke in 28 countries. You've made this much money from speaking, and then you made this much money from your own events and speaking and selling. I want that. So I knew they wanted what I could teach, the years of wisdom and knowledge and systems and processes I had. And so what would make a program like that so great is let me personalize it for you. And I called it my partnership program. Okay, so that's really was like, I'm going to help you get on the stages. I'm going to pay to get you on stages. I'm going to get you there. I'm going to get you ready for it. And then you'll make your money back from being on the stages and your own events. So it was kind of a no-brainer by the time you put the ROI together. But where I had to take the audience before I went to this was key. And I think this is how it's sold so easy. I had to get them in a mindset to think like this. So I'm actually teaching as I'm selling. Even before I'm selling, I pull back the curtain and I tell them everything. And I said, what is your biggest ticket offer you've ever sold? And then, they were raising their hands, giving their prices. And I said, and then we put them into a mindset exercise, play the little Zen music and like, okay, picture your ideal client, picture that you could give them everything they want and price is not the issue. But, and what would they, if you could have the courage to like, yeah, just put it out there. And again, it's a throw out. Even if I bombed with the throw out, I'm not bombing, I'm throwing it out. So if I had a $100,000 offer and my main offer is 30, and then I've got another like 10, by the time you look at it, by the time the 30 and the 10 came up, nobody even asked me about the 10. I never sold any of it. The 30 was like a given. Like they ran to the back of the room because there was like some special bonus they could get for the first few people. And it was like, oh my God, that's cheap, $30,000. Right. So it's a mindset. So I got them in the mindset. What could you make? And some were 200,000, 250,000 because they were working with corporate clients. They don't have to get a lot of corporate consulting clients to make that kind of money. So I got them in the headspace first and then started teaching them some more mindset and ideas around that. And then I told them the story of the guy that said, why don't you have a $100,000 offer? And then I said, and I put it together for you guys. You're the first to hear this. And then I did tell him it's not for everybody. So it was almost like a takeaway sale in a little bit. It's like, it's not going to be, you all want it, but you can't have it. Like,
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of psychology in there as well. But I think the number one thing was me being brave enough to throw it out. Because again, what do you care if they say no? Like, yeah, it's just a trial.
Yep.
And the other part was knowing exactly what that ideal client could want from you that you haven't put out there before.
There's all this knowledge and we have to unpack it all. um, because I think one of the biggest things you said too, besides, knowing your ideal client is transporting them.
hmm
And I think this is what, a lot of people don't realize they need to be doing is transporting them into where they are and where they will be with you. How did you craft that to really feel comfortable with that?
Well, it's listening to your customers, and that's what you do,
Yeah.
Ian. As you do that, your customers, you have those stories, those case stories. You listen to what they want. You ask them, well, if I could give you more in this program, or if you wanted to go faster, if I could launch you, what would that look like to you? I mean, I have those kind of conversations with my clients all the time. So what you offer is brilliant because once you know that information is priceless because that's what you're going to use to put together this irresistible high ticket offer.
And I love the fact that you make it a priority. And I think this is the thing I see we talked about this a lot at the event. And folks, first of all, I forgot to say this, but Debbie's been kind enough. She has her event coming up where you can learn how to do all of this from her and really maximize your influence, learn how she does this at bigmoneystages.com. And if you comment below, she says that, viewers, listeners who are regular listeners can actually get a 50% off discount. So I'll send that to you via if you're on the list. So that's awesome. Thank you. But what we talked about, we had like Brian Kurtz, who's a legend, and Dan Cashel and Glenn, and everyone talks about really listening to their customers. How are you installing that in your business?
Every single time I finish working with a VIP client, like they come for a strategy day, the first thing we do, pull out the phone. It's like, or they'll tell me all the time, you've changed my life. I say, well, I haven't changed your life. I gave you the direction to change your life. And then I'll go, can you say that? The phone comes out. They're used to me always asking for the testimonial because I go, if you share that, you can help a lot more people. So like at the end of a VIP strategy day, they know they're going to give me a great, testimonial of the whole experience of them coming to my home, having that time with me and what they actually achieved. And then at live events, we do that as well. What did you experience from the live event? What was your biggest takeaway? I mean, testimonials are one of the best marketing tools. I mean, there are people that are there like, okay, I want that too.
Yeah, exactly. And you get all that information. And now, you have a bunch of different people coming to this. And obviously you do consulting for helping people build stages, get the right people in the room, make these offers, but you've got other types of businesses. Tell me about some of the people that you've worked with that have succeeded with this and how.
Yeah, I have one that is a publishing company. It's based out of Las Vegas, and she's published nearly 1,000 books for self-published authors, right? And so they're speakers, coaches, authors, kind of a similar market, right? But she was spending so much money in sponsorships, so she's going to all these events and dropping thousands and thousands of dollars, and then it's like this long closing process. Well, I'm thinking about writing the book, and maybe I'll talk to you again, but I'm talking to 5 other publishers, and it was just a long drawn out thing. And it's like, well, every time you're investing this kind of money, you need to lock them down. And so I taught her how to close by application so that before she left the room, when she did the presentation, instead of sending them to a booth at a trade show that they're not going to go to or get lost or whatever, we locked down the conversations right there. So the Q&A at the end was like, okay, going up to her, asking questions, passing out forms to fill out a call time with her, which had a great value because she would strategize your book and strategize your direction, timeline, stuff like that. So they got that. So she walked away with a ton of leads. Then we took her from that to doing live events. So she went back and did a live event. She hadn't done a live event for a very long time, and she probably never made an offer back then. So we actually put together her offers. I actually went to her event and did the throwout offer for her, which was $100,000, which I have done on other people's stages, and done the throwout offer and sold for them. But typically it's like they're selling the main pieces. And so the thing is that she had people in the audience which were already following her that were locking down the decision to work with you. Like, here, put the deposit on, pick which program you want, give me your timeline, let's go, instead of it drawn out. So yeah, she made, with 40 people in the room for our first event, she made, a lot of money. And she locked down really great clients quickly. And so, she looked at like, well, yeah, it was a lot of work getting it done. I'm like, yeah, but look at the work you do. When you came to me, you were tired of doing one sales call after the next, all these tire kickers, and you're just like burned out working 60 hours a week doing this. Let's put the right people in the room. Let's close them there. Or let's, when you're sponsoring an event, you're actually closing them with some kind of an offer to make a call and closing them on the call. So you're either closing them from an application and a call, or you're closing them right there at your own event, direct close, sign the agreement, give me the deposit. And so that took that long lead time and cut out all those sales, calls that she's been doing. It's not cut out completely, but a big chunk of that.
Yeah, and a lot of uncertainty, right? And
Yes.
I mean, that after that event, you're going to make X amount of dollars, or you should be making X amount of dollars versus where's my next lead coming from? When is it going to happen? When are they going to close? I love that. And coming back to live events, just in general, obviously you're doing them, so you're going to be a proponent of them. How have you seen this change with, since Zoom, everyone being on Zoom, everyone being online, and now AI, everyone's getting their information from AI.
Yeah, audiences have changed and completely because we want that human connection. So I started seeing the softening of online sales in 2024, probably earlier on. And I was like, wait, there's way too many people on, too many people making offers. People are dropping prices or they're extending their online programs from 1 hour to 5 days. Oh my God, people are zoomed out, including me. And I decided, okay, it's happening, coming back. People want that human connection. I need to bring back live events. I need to do my own, bring back live event. And so that human connection, that know, like, trust factor, like, and you're real, like, it's not AI, like you're sitting there, is that a video of you? No, you're actually here. You're hugging me at an event. You're introducing me to all these other people I need to meet because you know who I am before I get there. And you're walking me around the room, and these personal introductions, like, fast track my opportunities. I mean, you cannot have that on a Zoom call. And you can't build the trust. That's why you're 4 times more likely to sell from a live event than any online event, because you have that emotion in the room. You have that emotion magnified in that room, and it's so real and trusting and in the moment. Like when you're listening to case stories that you call them, I love that, Ian.
Thank you.
Case stories of people on the stage on a panel that are saying, I was sitting where you were last year, and now my business is 10x, and I am like, blowing this up, and I've been on this many stages. I wrote a book this year. My sales are 3 times as much or whatever. You're just like, oh, I want that. And you're not even saying it. You're just interviewing them and saying, tell us your journey. And those case stories become live on a stage, and those people in the audience are, of course, going, and they're saying great things about me because I'm sitting right there, and then they go, hey, you don't believe it, go talk to her and go talk to them. And they're surrounded by all of my clients that work with me. So it's like, where could you have that kind of opportunity? There's never anything I've ever created that creates that kind of opportunity for sales.
I mean, what industries have you seen this work in? What other industries? Because I think this is such a fantastic thing. I mean, it's, especially if you're building an audience, and if it's a fast way to build an audience, it's a fast way to build relationships. Like, I look back on it, and like a few events still are making me money and still bringing in clients years later. But what events, because I think a lot of people, they see speaker and they hear publisher, but I'm sure you've had some other really interesting case stories, case studies.
We talked about that, and we were in Orlando. It's like the carpet cleaners. I spoke at the carpet cleaners group or floor group or whatever, service industries, right? You think, well, how could they do events? Well, they actually, a lot of those people in any kind of industries, they're eventually going to be like me. They want to sell their business. Like, I went into retail first. Like, I had all that knowledge of retail, so I want to help people in the retail business make money. So if you're a carpet cleaner and you build a successful business, your next career should be consulting. And then how do you get consulting gigs, learn speaking so you can get, and put the right people in the room if you want to do your own events on top of it, right? But it could be for any industry because we're selling knowledge. We're selling fast track knowledge, because I look back and I go, how was I successful in every business I was in? Like real estate investing. I went to Ron LeGrand's thing. I bought his program. I saw those people speaking to sell. Then I bought 3 more speakers that were selling from stage and went to their events and bought their programs. It's like, it doesn't, if it's real estate investing, carpet cleaning, floor covering, service-based business, it works for any, because especially if you want to sell the knowledge that you learned how to build that business. So it's basically you become an expert on the knowledge of the industry you have. Again, real estate investing, whatever that is, and then you sell that knowledge and the how-to and the steps, the formula, the system.
That's great. Yeah, and there is a formula. You have, I know you have a formula, and you're going to talk about it on big money stages. And you know, what do you see as the biggest mistakes people make when they're making these big offers, when they're going out to sell these big offers and speaking at events?
Yeah, when you say that, I just, flashbacks of people bombing on stage, event hosts that have been doing it even for years, like events, numerous events, and I see them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just cringeworthy, right? Because, I learned, I bombed when I did it too, but it was like I wasn't going to invest in a big event and do it. I'm going to learn the skill first before I put myself out there. I'm going to have a goal to either make money, get paid to speak, or I'm going to make money in the back of the room. There's no other ways of doing this, right? Even with lead gen, just like a bunch of business cards, that doesn't get you anywhere. It's like you got to have a call to action. So I would see this, like one I just went to, and he's done many events, and it was just so cringeworthy. It was like old school. Like, you're teaching, this is like bullet points. There's no emotion in this close. It's just, you're going to get this, and you're going to get this, and you're going to get this. And then you can put this much down. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just wanted to like run out of the room. And then he bombed, right? So he bombed. He did his offer on day 2, and it was like a 3-day event. So then he does the entire, not part of the close, the entire close, which was already cringy, again completely. And then he goes in the back and he stands like in the middle of the room, like waiting for people to come back, and that's like the most lonely place in the world when you bomb, because nobody comes back. And it's just, but the other thing that he did, another mistake, was he didn't have a good close. There's always like, or they just, their presentation doesn't match their close. That's another one. And another one that I've seen happen, a number of times, is the host doesn't connect with the audience. So they just appear like, oh, I'm celebrity and I'm on stage, and then they disappear. And then they're celebrity and they're on stage. And then when it comes to the offer, now they're going to go back and talk to you. And you're thinking, well, that's what they're going to be like when I work with them. Like, I'm with that audience. I'm playing host. When I'm off the stage, I'm with that audience. I'm connecting people together. real and authentic. And that's really why events that are 50, 75 people are so good, because you can actually work with people and connect with people versus too big and then you're unaccessible. Because if you're not accessible and available there, people think you're not going to be available to them when they invest big money with you.
And I think that's a fantastic piece of information. Another gold nugget that, once again, you're just like, throw this out there, is that size of the audience. Because I think probably most people are like, I need 1,000 people. I need 300 people. I need 400 people. If that many doesn't show up, I'm going to lose. So how did you discover that was the right size audience?
Yeah, in fact, I'm working with a gentleman right now, and he's going to put 400 to 500 people in his room, and he's done this, so it's not like the first time. So he does all the work to fill the room, and he spends all the energy in getting speaker sponsors. So get the money from the speaker sponsors that go on stage, and then and ticket sales, and then that's where he makes his money. He had never made an offer, and he's got this incredible software program. Like, why are you're talking about it, and you put people together, talk about it, but you never made the offer. So now he's finally working with me to put the offer together in front of that audience that will make sense. But the thing is, most people that are just putting on events, they think, I'm going to make money from sponsors and ticket sales. And that's not it. Where the big money is the back of the room sales. I mean, if you can just break even with sponsorship and event tickets, or give some tickets away, whatever you have to do, right? And again, we're not trying to put 400 or 500 people. I started out in the event business putting 600 people in a room, but where the model is now, 50, 75 is beautiful. And in fact, I have clients that are making multiple six figures by putting 40 people in a room, so it doesn't have to be that.
Oh, wow. That's really, I mean, that's because I feel like a lot of people are thinking like, I need 200-300 people to sell this offer to make money. But like you said, you don't need that many. And if you have the right offer and a good offer. Now, I'm not going to get into offers here because that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
But I think you gave a great definition, because I asked, and I think a lot of people, and I want to end with this, is like, how do you know you have an offer versus just throwing out a list of deliverables on a few slides?
Because it's delivered with outcomes, return on investment, and an emotional connection to the audience of what they're going to experience and what they're going to achieve. So you're not selling this many hours of time with you and this much thing, right? It's like you're selling the outcome, which when they can see that the ROI is so valuable that it's a no-brainer. And then you throw in a couple bonuses on top of that because you want them to invest now, because don't let them think about it. Like, you're already here. You're already emotionally invested. You already need this. You already know you want it. What are you thinking about? Right. Of course, I have conversations with people if they've already got an emotional decision and they were the wrong people. If they're the wrong person, I go, pass. Sorry, I'm not going to take your money.
Yeah.
And I've let people walk away. I'm not there just to take the money. I'm there to help people get the results that I can help them with. And I think when you show that in your authenticity, just in your whole conversation, and plus you're not just teaching and giving and then all of a sudden making an offer. The
Mm-hmm.
other piece of this, you're seeding, and the seeding also is those case stories. That's a seed. They show you
Yeah.
what's possible. I'll seed in a conversation of somebody else I helped, and they went, hey, this person didn't even have an offer. When they did an event, they had no offer. And then I said, okay, start with 5,000. And she's like, oh, somebody's going to get mad at me if I offer 5,000. And then three ladies walked up when she was finishing. She thought they were going to yell at her, and they went, we're ready. We want to sign up. And then more people came, and she's like, I made $25,000 and I've never made an offer in my life. Now she's making that one person, because she went from the mindset of I can't do 5,000. She actually has a $30,000 offer now for one
Wow.
person. And that was less than a year. It was the mindset shift, the confidence, the deliverables, all of that plays out.
Yeah. I think this is another big point that I want to end on is a lot of people get in this mindset that they can't charge more. And I think, to your point, if you can connect the result that is worth it to someone, you can charge as much as possible, right?
Right, as long as you're going to deliver. I mean, there's people that charge a lot of money and then they don't deliver. Right? That's unethical. That's one thing.
No.
But the thing is, if you know your value, you know what you're delivering, then yeah, most people are undercharging for
Yeah.
sure. And the thing is, the reason they're doing it is because they don't know the skill, and that's why I put this event on, and that's why I teach more people this now because it's a game changer. I didn't know the skill when I started with it too. I didn't know what my offers could be. I was there. I mean, I can relate to everybody that feels that way because I was there too. And now it's changed my life learning that skill. And if you can learn one skill this year, learning the skill of when you're speaking in front of a group as an expert or authority that you know how to sell, that will be the game changer for your income.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It is. And it's an art. And, I wish I'd have met you years ago because it took me a lot of painful years of doing all the wrong things before I got decent at this. Um, and it's not icky if you do it right. And it's not bad. And also, I think you get people better results because they move faster and they're excited. So Debbie, tell me a real quick, bigmoneystages.com. Once again, if you guys want the 50% off, either if you saw this in an email, just reply to the email or comment below on YouTube. But Debbie, what's going to happen at the event?
They're going to learn the process, which is first the mindset of how do I get my value up? How do I go out and make those offers? How do I feel confident in selling? And then the next is putting together that irresistible offer. So they're going to put it together at the event,
Oh, wow.
and they're going to come up with the number, and then they're going to have ideas of what to put in the package and everything. So they're going to have their number, right? And then we're going to talk about the selling skills. So I'm going to be teaching them really really thought provoking, but really simple once you think about it. Skills on how to close with conversations that create emotion and get people to take action. And then the next one, the fourth one, I think there's like four categories, is how do we put on an event? And those are like small events, big profits. That's what I teach. Small events, big profits. Some people start with a 12-person retreat. Some people start with 30 people in the room. Some do a women's conference with 50, 75 people in the room. Whatever it is, they're all different. Some are selling mindset, some are selling business, all different kinds of things, and they have different goals. So wherever they're comfortable to do. But what I get is I teach them how to put on an event, and then once you do that event, it's systemized. Now you know how to do it. The first time ever you do anything, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
And then you systemize it, and you can do it as many times as you want. So I have clients that are typically doing about two events, and then they'll eventually get to 3 events a year. I used to do that 4 events a year, which is a lot of work, but
Yeah.
but I just now do 1 event a year. I get all my personal one-on-one clients at 1 event a year. And so people will wait and they know that's coming. And so they'll go, can I put a spot in for that? Like I already sold the 100,000. Like last year it's like the Throwout, and this person that already bought it last year because she's gotten so much results. Can I have that again? Like, wouldn't you love to have that? It's because I care. And we talked about this too at that event in Orlando. They're my business family. I care about them as if it's a partnership in my business. And again, I can't take everybody on with that. That's why it's limited. And when you have limited time, that's when you give your most value, and that's the highest price program.
I'm super excited. This is fantastic. We'll put a link to this obviously in the show notes. And if you comment down below, I mean, it's for what you're giving, it's a steal. But it's if you want another 50% off, just message it to me. But Debbie, this has been fantastic. Besides Big Money Stages, where's the best place to follow you?
Easy name, debbieallen.com, right? DebbieAllen.com. And then you can see other events and online things and things that I do as well, and group programs that I offer and things like that. So thank you so much, Ian, for having me here and sharing this knowledge with the people. And I hope that I woke everybody up and know that you're worth a lot more money and you can charge more. And I'm giving you the permission to go for it.
I love it. Yes. And folks, you can charge more. You can charge a lot more and you deserve it. And it gets people better results. It's not ripping people off. But I definitely check out Big Money Stages. Go to, follow Debbie, connect with her. And Debbie, thank you so much for being on the Garlic Marketing Show.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for making Debbie and I part of your story. This has been Ian Garlic and the Garlic Marketing Show.